This was such a wild week. Several countries publicly revealed that they are now preparing for the possibility of World War III. The Apple Vision Pro dropped and me and my brother tried to buy it illegally. We found out that Chinese scientists have been experimenting with a virus that you should probably know about. And the Sidemen posted something that begs the question, are the YouTube elite killing the platform or not? All of that and more. You ready? Let's get it. So we kick this week off with something absolutely terrifying. A plastic surgeon by the name Dr. Kim went viral after he shared the before and after results of their patients' facelifts. Now thinking that, come on, this must just be one or two cases. Now to be fair, I've heard that facelifts are pretty messed up when you see them straight after surgery. But I'm sorry, are we looking at... You know what? I'm not even gonna say anything because I don't feel like getting sued for defamation by a Chinese doctor today. But Twitter had an absolute field day. Now the crazier part is that on his TikTok, a lot of the captions read that people saw the videos and then flew all the way from places like South Korea and even Spain so that they can specifically get this procedure done by Dr. Kim himself. Dr. Kim, it's a new one. But the part about that I don't really understand is if these are the results that you're seeing as a patient that wants Dr. Kim, I don't know what we're looking at here. Are we looking at something where you're like, damn, Dr. Kim, you did a great job there? Because maybe it's just the untrained eye. And in case you're wondering, yes, this procedure is as brutal as it looks. A facelift literally requires you snipping your face skin, pulling it tight, cutting away the excess, and then stitching it back onto your face. But as for Dr. Kim himself, there's not really a lot of information on the guy. I mean, like, he has no bio on TikTok, no website, is definitely using a random doctor as his profile picture, and he can only be contacted via WhatsApp, which is something I did not decide to do. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think they look better before or after, or should they just grow old? Moving on. Okay, someone needs to explain what the hell is going on with planes this year. This week, we had a plane catching fire mid-flight and someone on the ground managed to film the whole thing. We had a plane that had to turn and fly back to Tokyo because one of the passengers bit the flight attendant. And if that doesn't sound like something straight out of the beginning of a zombie movie, I don't know what does. Now, as for the plane that caught fire, luckily it was a cargo plane and it did manage to land safely. But as for the biting one, sounds a little sus to me. The passenger, reportedly a 55-year-old man believed to be an American. I mean, every time you see a video on the plane where there's a passenger freak out, a flight, or anything, it's always a US flight. Anyway, continuing, this passenger sunk his teeth into a crew member's arm while heavily drunk, leaving her mildly injured. The man was later then handed to police where he told investigators that he doesn't recall any of his behavior at all. I mean, to be fair, this was a few days ago, so by now, if a zombie apocalypse hasn't broken out in Tokyo, we're safe. He wasn't infected, just weird. However, speaking of infected, if scientists in China want to do this shit, we should all at least know about it. Because it's now being reported that scientists in China have been experimenting with a mutant COVID strain that in its first tests have had a 100% mortality rate in humanized mice. Why? I mean...
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Now, according to their preprint results, here the virus known as GXP2V was discovered in pangolins. I mean, out of all things, why did it have to be poor, sweet, adorable pangolins? I mean, just look at them. Look at this sweet pangolin. Why did they have to be our ops in 2024? Anyway, scientists then cloned the virus and infected 8 humanized mice. And humanized meaning that they were engineered to express a protein that is found in people, with the goal being to assess how humans would react to this virus. And to put it bluntly, it didn't react very well, because in just the space of 8 days, all 8 mice died, which the researchers described as surprisingly quick. That's fun. And look, you can't unwatch movies and remove thoughts out of your head, so when I read this next part, I could only think of one thing. The researchers were surprised to find a high level of viral load in the mice's brains, and their eyes turned completely white just days before they died. Anyone watch Happiness recently? If not, solid South Korean zombie series. You should watch it. And if you have, you should know that a viral load in the brain and white eyes is a big no-no. Now, at this point when I was reading this, I was thinking, okay, sounds pretty scary, but surely other scientists would say that, these kind of experiments are necessary to understand viruses and how they may harm humans. And most of all, just to prepare in case we get a season 2 of 2020. But I'm somewhat sad to report, no. They were not like that. Since the preprint was published, experts have been sharing their thoughts on Twitter. Exhibit A, an infectious disease expert based in University College London, said, "It's a terrible study, totally scientifically pointless. I can see nothing of vague interest that could be learned from force infecting a weird breed of humanized mice with a random virus. Conversely, I could see how such stuff might go wrong." Exhibit B, a retired professor of medicine at Stanford said, "This madness must be stopped before it's too late." And that was just 2. There were plenty more. Experts have also been raising questions about their safety because nowhere in this preprint did they specify the precautions that they were taking to make sure that this shit just didn't get leaked. And I mean, all things considered, it is a tough one. Do you think that there are valuable insights to learn from these kinds of experiments, or should they just be left alone? Let me know. Moving on. Something else strange happened this week, and it was all surrounding Ye's teeth. The fact that Ye now has titanium grills fixed to his teeth, yes, is strange. But what's stranger is how a lot of media outlets decided to cover this story. So many pretty credible outlets ran with the story that Ye got his teeth removed and then replaced them with these. But I mean, honestly, I don't even know where the hell they got the idea that his teeth were removed. Because if you do something as simple as going on his dentist's Instagram page, you'd see that the top comment about this whole situation, he clearly states that no teeth were removed. Right there on Instagram. And I mean, you didn't even have to say that his teeth were removed to make this story strange, because what he did do was pretty much just as wild. He designed and spent $850,000 to fix a solid titanium prosthesis on his teeth. Very hard word to say. Prosthesis. Prosthesis. Meaning that they are permanent. So get a good look, because this is the new Kanye West. Moving on. This week, Apple released what they were hyping up to be the biggest product that they have launched since the iPhone. But the only problem is that 1, they only released them to people in the US, and 2, they're expensive. Freaking expensive. But neither of these things stopped us from copying ourselves a VPN, an American person's address, and then trying to order us one of these bad boys. And I say try because not only did these things sell out, but right now on StockX, if you go and look for yourself, they are reselling for a whopping $5,000 to $11,500. And I get it. You're probably wondering, why the hell would people pay that much money for some bloody goggles? Just you hold on a second. If they actually do what everything Apple says they can do, and that's a big if, these wouldn't be just goggles. They could literally change the way that we interact with technology, the same way that we went from clicking buttons to select something on a screen to simply touching it. You could take the screens that are normally fixed to a laptop or an iPhone and then shoot them into reality at any size in any location. And then if you wanted to Google something, let's say, you would swipe your finger, navigate with your eyes, and then type with your voice. When traveling, instead of staring at a tiny airplane screen, you could watch a movie on a 100-foot theater on another planet. When you're at work and your back's breaking from sitting down, you could stand up, walk around while still working. When you want to relive a moment, you can use Apple's first 3D camera and start to re-experience your memory. Sounds a bit like bloody Black Mirror shit. Not gonna lie. You can play video games, you can meditate and align your chakras on a whole new level. You can FaceTime with your friends, although what they'll be seeing is a 3D animation of your face, which is creepy and amazing at the same time. And of course, classic Apple, you can seamlessly connect to all of your already existing devices like your keyboard, iPhone, laptop, all just by going near them. So yeah, I think it could be worth testing out if it can do any of those things. And guess what? I can report that we will be testing it out because we were successful. So they arrive in the US on the 2nd of February, and then our little sneaky link will package them up and send it out to us here in the UK. And I get it. They're not meant for people in the UK, but what? Arrest me.
A moment can live on forever.
So I guess keep your eyes peeled, because as soon as they arrive, I'll be able to tell you whether they're a big fat waste of money or the future of technology. Okay, moving on, because also this week, several countries came out to say that they are preparing for the possibility of World War III. Bit of a change of pace from the Apple Vision Pros. So the Swedish government, somewhat out of nowhere, shocked the nation by explicitly warning that war might come to Sweden and that each and every Swede should prepare themselves. Imagine you're just minding your own business, mowing your lawn, and then your government tells you that shit. Now, since then, many have been taking the warning seriously and have flocked to stores to stock up on fuel and survival kits. Following that, leaked documents from the German military came out, showing that Europe and NATO are preparing for multiple, potentially alarming scenarios coming out of Russia. And then to top all of that off, the British government came out with a speech saying that the era of peace is now over and now we are moving into a pre-war era. The defense minister said that in the next 5 years, we could be looking at multiple conflicts involving Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. And because of that, we must prepare to deter our enemies, lead our allies, and defend our nation. And these are not just words, because today, for the very first time, the UK is now spending more than 50 billion a year on military defense, which is more than ever before. And here's something that I learned this week, which is absolutely fascinating. You want to know why this year is so incredibly crazy and important? It's because literally half of the world's population is going to be voting this year. Over 50 countries have national elections, and as we all know, a change in presidents can literally mean the difference between peace and war. I mean, just think about it. Some of the countries this includes is the US, the UK, India, Russia, Taiwan, Ukraine, the European Union, which encompasses 27 countries, and dozens more. It's not only going to be the biggest election year in history, but possibly the biggest for democracy in general. Pretty freaking cool, but swiftly moving on. Because the thing that I've been thinking about this week, even more than that, is the ultimate question. Are the YouTube elites slowly killing the platform, or are they making it better? Because what we're seeing right now on YouTube has never happened before. Let me explain. So this week, I saw a tweet that the Sidemen posted a video called the Among Us movie that was 1 second longer than the Lord of the Rings Return of the King. It was 4 hours, 23 minutes, and 6 seconds. And when I looked to be like, okay, what the hell? Where the hell are they posting this thing? Turns out it was just their spare content that they were posting on their More Sidemen channel. A 4-hour-long video, just as an added bonus. What content creators are doing that nowadays? On top of the videos that they post to their 4 separate channels, on top of their vodka, on top of their chicken shop trading cards, the Sidemen Plus, which is pretty much their equivalent of Disney Plus, and the millions of other things that they do together and separately. And that's when all of these things hit me. They are no longer YouTubers in the traditional sense, where it's just someone in their bedroom making videos by themselves. For the first time ever, we are seeing YouTubers transition into entire media corporations that have hundreds of employees making videos on YouTube. And then the people who started the channel are pretty much just the faces and personality of it, and then just signing off on ideas, scripts, editing, etc. So what the hell are the implications for the platform and other creators? Well, in economics, we have what you call a winner-takes-all market. And according to Wikipedia, it's a market in which a product or a service that is favored above the competitors, even just slightly, receives a disproportionately large share of the revenues for that class of products or services. And in the case of YouTube, that would mean the views that they get and the money that they receive from AdSense. And right now, we are seeing the gap between the YouTube elites like the Sidemen, Mr.beast, and all of the YouTubers widen to a place where we've never seen before. And for the average YouTuber that does everything by themselves, or perhaps has 1 or 2 employees, to actually compete with these YouTube elites is becoming close to impossible. So, what are the potential consequences for this? YouTubers right now are already having a seriously hard time with ad revenue dropping and competition from short form, which is just one of the reasons why so many of them are quitting right now. But that hard time could be made even worse in a winner-takes-all market, where out of all of the time that people spend watching YouTube, a tiny % of creators are accounting for a huge proportion of the views. This would also make it far harder for smaller and up-and-coming creators to not only break out, but also make money. And for a platform to last and thrive, you need those new creators coming up and bringing new styles of video, new creations, new ideas. creators. And that is exactly why TikTok is doing so well right now. You pretty much find a new creator every day. But to be fair, on the flip side, you could also argue that the YouTuber elites are making the platform better, because the more views they get, the more money they can make, the bigger their companies can scale, which ultimately for the viewer makes watching content on YouTube, and sorry to use the same word again, but better. But honestly, I would love to read in the comments what you guys think about this. But with all of that being said, thank you very much for watching another video, and I will catch you guys next Monday.